Hi everyone. In this video, we'll see what are pupillary reflexes. First of all, let me ask you, what are reflexes? Reflexes are sudden response to some stimulus, right? And similarly, pupillary reflexes, the sudden response of pupil to a stimulus. And what would be the stimulus here? It is obviously light. Okay, light stimuli. Okay. And first of all, before going into deeper aspects of pupillary reflexes, we are going to see what is pupil. Okay, what is pupil? Let me tell you, pupil is not any structure. Okay, it is just a hole which is located in the center of the diaphragm of the eye. Okay, so if you are, just now I am going to draw the front view of the eye. Okay, suppose this is your front view of your eye. You can see the white portion of eye which is known as the sclera. Okay, this one is the sclera, and in the center you can see the cornea. Just behind the cornea you can see the diaphragm or the iris. Okay, so this one is your iris. What would be the cornea? Cornea is just a transparent coating over the iris and the pupil. Okay, so this is the diaphragm. In the center of the diaphragm you can see a more dark region which is known as the pupil. Okay, it is more black in color which is known as the pupil, and this is a hole, okay, which is known as the pupil, and the surrounding little lightened region is known as the diaphragm or the iris. Okay, the iris will be having different colors. Okay, it can vary from person to person. The iris can have brown color, it can have blue in color, it will be green in color. Okay, so depending on the iris, the color of your eyeball would be. Okay, and in the center of the iris there is one hole which is known as the pupil. Pupil will seems dark black in color only. Okay, so pupil is the hole through which the light goes into the retina. Okay, the light comes and it strikes over the cornea, it crosses the cornea, the aqueous humor, then it crosses the lens and it strikes the retina. Okay, through this hole only the light moves into the retina. Okay, and when we are taking the cross section of the eye, we can see, suppose this is the cornea. Okay, now I am going to draw the cross section. Okay, this one is the cornea and this one is the sclera. Okay, just behind the cornea what you can see the iris or diaphragm. Okay, this is the cross section, so you can see this diaphragm as an finger like projection. Okay, diaphragm as a elongated structure. Okay, so just behind the diaphragm you can see the ciliary body, and continuation of ciliary body is the choroid, and here also you can find the ciliary body and continuation is the choroid, and from the ciliary body there is suspensory ligaments, and between the suspensory ligaments you can find the lens. Okay, the lens is held in position by the suspensory ligaments which is attached to the ciliary body. Okay, and the lens can be elongated and also it can be compressed because of the pulling and compressing effect of the suspensory ligaments and also ciliary body, that we will discuss later. Okay, and now you can see this space, right? This space just in front of the lens and just behind the cornea and just behind the aqueous humor is known as the pupil. Okay, that particular space or the hole just in front of the lens is known as the pupil. Okay, and now we have seen what is pupil. Now we are going to see which are the pupillary reflexes. Okay, in this session I am going to deal with two major pupillary reflexes. Pupillary reflexes are of four types. The most important pupillary reflexes are, first one is light reflex, and second one is accommodation reflex. Okay, first we will deal with the light reflex. There are two types of pupillary reflexes. the light reflex and the accommodation reflex. First I am going to deal with the light reflex. Okay. So what are light reflex? Light reflex is the reflex by which the pupil will contract in response to light. Okay, you might have observed, if you are throwing some light into one of your eye. Okay, suppose you are taking this eye and you are lighting a torch. Okay, and this light is directed into your eye. So what happens to the size of the pupil? You can see the pupil, this one is the pupil. Okay, pupil will constrict. Okay, the pupil will decrease in size by the activity of diaphragm. Okay, it is by the contraction and relaxation of diaphragm this the size of the pupil increase or decrease. Okay, when diaphragm is the surrounding structure, the structure which encircles the pupil, it is also known as iris. When these the muscles, some particular muscles are there in diaphragm. Okay, it is known as constrictor pupillae. Okay, if these muscles are constricting, what happens? The diameter of this diaphragm will increase. What happens to the pupil? Pupil will in turn decrease its size. Okay, so this is the actual process. What is happening here? When a direct light, when a light is, suppose this is a torch, okay, and I am lighting and directing this light into one of my eye, so you can find the pupil in this eye will be constricting. Okay, and that kind of a reflex is known as light reflex. Light reflex are of two types: direct light reflex and indirect light reflex. Okay, so light reflex is simply it is the constriction of pupil in response to light. Okay, simply it is the constriction of pupil in response to light. It is of two types: direct light reflex and indirect light reflex. Okay, we'll see what is direct light reflex. The constriction of the pupil of the same eye to which the light is drawn. Okay, so if I am lighting this torch and directing this light to my left eye, so my left eye pupil will be constricting, and that is a direct effect. Okay, and it is known as the direct light reflex. Next we are going to see about indirect light reflex. Okay, in this instance also I am directing the light from the torch to my left eye, and you observe the right eye. Okay, the light stimulus is given to the left eye, but the pupil constriction also happens in your right eye. Okay, so indirectly this light is affecting my opposite eye, my opposite pupil. It is known as indirect light reflex. Okay, direct light reflex is the constriction of pupil of the same eye to which the light is directed. Okay, indirect light reflex is the constriction of pupil in the opposite eye. Constriction of pupil in the opposite eye when the light is directed to the other eye. Okay, it is known as the indirect light reflex. The indirect light reflex is also known as consensual light reflex. Okay, so we'll now see the pathway of light reflex. We have in the previous video we have seen how the vision is produced by means of a neural pathway, right? Optical pathway. Okay, we have seen about the visual pathway by which the vision is produced, the vision is conveyed to your brain. Okay, now in here we are going to see how this this light reflex is conveyed in your brain, how this light reflex is processed in your brain. Okay, this is also through the same optical tract. Okay, this is also occurs in the same optical pathway. Okay, so the visual pathway, the pathway for light reflex is very much similar. It is same only. Okay, it is same to that of visual reflex. Okay, these light reflex go through the same way only. Okay, so the nerve fibers for the light reflex also goes through the same tract only, no change. Okay, suppose light is passed to this eye, and this eye have to produce the pupillary reflex. Now we are going to see which are the optical pathway for producing this light reflex. Okay, so when the light is directed into the eye, it goes into the retina. Okay, and retina, from which temporal and nasal nerve fibers will be going through the optical nerve. Okay, temporal and nasal of both of these eye goes through the optical nerve. Okay, and it reaches at a point known as the optical chiasma in the forebrain region. Okay, the same process is follows as we have seen in the visual pathway itself. Okay, so this optical nerve now reaches the optical chiasma. Okay, and from the optical chiasma, some of the nerve fibers, specifically the nasal retinal fibers, okay, it is the nasal retinal fibers will cross over, okay, will cross to the opposite optical tract, and the temporal one will follows the same path, same tract, but the nasal one will cross. Okay, now one optical tract will be having ipsilateral and contralateral nerve fibers. Ipsilateral means the nerve fibers which are in same side. Contralateral means the nerve fibers which is coming from the opposite side. Okay, so one particular optical tract will be having ipsilateral and contralateral nerve fibers. And obviously these nerve fibers will come and synapse at a point known as the lateral geniculate body in the thalamus region. Okay, now there is a little difference in the pathway of light reflex. Okay, some nerve fibers obviously goes into the visual cortex of the occipital lobe, and the nerve fibers for the light reflex will goes to the midbrain. Okay, it does not goes to the visual cortex, does not goes to the occipital lobe in the visual cortex in the occipital lobe, but instead some nerves from here, it diverges and it goes to, okay, there are some other nerve fibers which goes to this particular nucleus here, and it is known as pretectal nucleus. Okay, this one is known as pretectal nucleus in the midbrain. Okay, so in the midbrain, some of the nerve fibers will cross the lateral geniculate body and it synapse in the pretectal nucleus. Okay, and from the this lateral geniculate body also nerve fibers go to the pretectal nucleus. Okay, so now these nerve fibers have reached the pretectal nucleus. The very important thing is pretectal nucleus is the center for light reflex. Okay, like we have seen the visual cortex. Visual cortex is the center for visual perception. Okay, that vision production. Okay, and in case of light reflex, the pretectal nucleus is the center for producing light reflex. So the information in the form of impulses reaches the pretectal nucleus and the information is processed here. Now the motor impulses have to get out of the pretectal nucleus. Okay, so the motor impulses, I'll use the red marker. So the motor impulses, since this was sensory impulses, okay, sensory impulses coming to the pretectal nuclei, from the pretectal nuclei motor impulses are going to which part? To the midbrain itself. Okay, in the Edinger-Westphal nucleus of the midbrain. Okay, so from the pretectal nuclei, the impulses, the motor impulses will go to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. This one is the Edinger, Edinger, Edinger Westphal, Westphal, Edinger Westphal nucleus. Okay, so from here the motor impulses goes to the Edinger Westphal nucleus. Okay, from the Edinger Westphal nucleus, what is happening? The impulse will directly go to one structure known as the ciliary ganglion. Okay, so from the Edinger Westphal nucleus, the preganglionic nerve fibers, okay, the preganglionic nerve fibers move to the ciliary ganglion. What is ciliary ganglion? What is a ganglion? Ganglion is the site at which the more number of neurons will synapse. Okay, one synapse means what? One axon terminal of one neuron will synapse with, make a connection with the cell body or dendrite of the other neuron. That is what is known as synapse. Okay, a site at which this synapse will occur is known as the ciliary ganglion. Sorry, it is the ganglion. Okay, the site at which the synapse occurs is known as the ganglion. What is ciliary ganglion? Ciliary ganglion is such a kind of structure which is present just behind the eye. Okay, just behind the eyeball in the orbit. You know that orbit is the socket to which the eyeball is inserted. Okay, in the posterior orbit, just behind the eyeball, you can see the ciliary ganglion. And the nerve fibers that is coming into ganglion is known as preganglionic nerve fibers, and the nerve fibers which is going out of the ganglion, okay, that is the neuron which is having the cell body attached with the preganglionic nerve fiber, it is known as the postganglionic nerve fiber. Okay, nerves that is coming into the ganglion is known as preganglionic nerve fibers, and the nerve fibers going out of the ganglion is known as postganglionic nerve fibers. Okay, so you can see from the Edinger Westphal nucleus, preganglionic nerve fibers emerges and it makes a synapse. Okay, it makes a synapse in the ciliary ganglion. Okay, and the next order neuron which is known as the postganglionic nerve fiber. Okay, this is the cell body postganglionic nerve fiber which goes and gives stimulus to the this one is what? Iris. Okay, this one is the iris. So this nerve fiber will supply to the constrictor muscles of diaphragm. Okay, so from there the process ends. Please listen. From the Edinger Westphal nucleus, the preganglionic nerve fibers emerges and it synapses with the postganglionic nerve fibers in the ciliary ganglion. Okay, so this nerve fibers arising from both of this side synapse at the ciliary ganglion. This is the sign of a synapse. Okay, so it synapse and the postganglionic nerve fiber is directly moving on to the diaphragm of the eyeball. Okay, and these impulses will stimulate the diaphragm. Will stimulate which part of the diaphragm? It is the constrictor pupillae of the diaphragm. Okay, so we have already told what is the function of constrictor pupillae of diaphragm. Constrictor pupillae of diaphragm, when these constrictor pupillae is contracting, constrictor pupillae muscles, okay, it is muscles. Constrictor pupillae muscles are contracting, the pupil will be constricting. Okay, and the pupil constrict. Now the aim is achieved. Okay, this is the pathway of light reflex. It is the similar pathway of the visual reflex itself, that is visual pathway itself, but at the level of lateral geniculate body, some of the nerve fibers will cross to the pretectal nucleus. Pretectal nucleus where the information for light reflex is processed. Okay, from the pretectal nucleus, it goes to the Edinger Westphal nucleus. From the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, it goes to the ciliary ganglion, which is situated just behind and close to the eyeball. From the ciliary ganglion, what is arising? Postganglionic nerve fibers are arising, and it will be stimulating the constrictor pupillary muscles of the diaphragm. And by the contraction of these muscles, what happens? The diaphragm will increase in its width, and pupil, which is in the center of the diaphragm, will constrict. Okay, so the pupil is constricted. This light reflex is of direct and indirect, right? Direct means when light is strike on one eye, the constriction of pupil in the same eye is known as direct. But indirect also you can see. Okay, when the light is striking on this particular eye, the constriction of pupil occurs in the opposite eye also. How it can be done? How can you explain it with the help of this pathway? You can see some of the nerve fibers are crossing here, right? Some of the nerve fibers, that is the nasal retinal fibers, are getting crossed. So the nerve fibers which reaches the lateral geniculate body and the nerve fibers which crosses the lateral geniculate body and synapses at the pretectal nuclei will both have ipsilateral and contralateral nerve fiber. Okay, so it will be having ipsilateral and contralateral nerve fibers. That is why the indirect light reflex is also getting produced. Okay, so this is how the light reflex is produced, light reflex pathway. Okay, next reflex is known as the accommodation reflex. That we will discuss in the next video.